So yes, it is about how do you pay it off? You do have to pay it off, but paying it quicker is a lot smarter. The best, greatest feeling is knowing you don't have any debt to pay. It's a marvelous thing.
Hi everyone, welcome to the Property Education Company.
I'm Louise Lucas from the Property Education Company. This is James Gregors.
Hi.
And today I was going to start with a little story because our topic today is paying off your loans quicker.
A lot quicker.
A lot quicker. And I want to tell you a little story about a client of mine from long ago who I was helping with her loans. And she was telling me, she was Scottish, and she was telling me how she'd been reading Robert Kiyosaki and about his house. And she realized every single thing that she picked up to buy, she asked herself the question, do you want the doodad or do you want the house? And she started choosing in favor of her house every time. And they realized they'd paid off their mortgage within 4 years when they thought they'd be with it forever. And it didn't seem that painful, although if you're making it a conscious effort. So to win the house, maybe you need to stop doing the doodads, which I thought was gorgeous. It was a great way to describe it. But we have quite a few methods that we encourage people to use, and there's some distinctions that need to be made. But just remember, whatever we say is general advice, and if you want to personalize the information, make sure you make an appointment with someone and we can help you. So my first strategy I suggest is rounding down. Now, another lovely client of mine, Ryan, does this, and I really love it because I do it all the time too. And it is paying down your mortgage so that it's an even number. So if you owe, for example, $578,328 and whatever cents after the payment has gone through for the month, you go in and then round it down and remove the $328 and whatever cents so that it is now an even number. And if you do that every month, just consistently, and you're only putting in a little bit more, you might only put in $20 or whatever, or you might put in a few hundred. But by making it even every month, when you have the money to do so, it actually makes a huge difference in how you pay down your loan so much quicker. And
it looks so much more aesthetically pleasing, and that's why I do it.
Yeah, I agree. I like even numbers.
It looks real good in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree.
Everything lines up perfectly. It looks very neat and handsome, and that's what I'm about.
But the extra funds actually will sit out in the loan, but in redraw. So should push come to shove and you really need some extra money, you can actually pull it out of your redraw. So that's not a bad thing either. What about how often people pay? What do you suggest, James?
So most people think when it comes to mortgages, you pay once a month and that's it. But you do have options. You can actually pay fortnightly, which is fairly common. Some lenders even let you pay weekly. So it really depends on what you're after. Even then, you can start contributing fortnightly funds, even if your repayment is monthly. Just add a bit more. Or you can look to actually change your repayment so it is a fortnightly repayment if you're looking to do it that way as well.
And people go, oh, well, I'm paying it off quicker. But that's because you are actually making extra repayments because there are 26 fortnights, but only 12 months. So you're actually putting in extra into the loan all the time. The difference between weekly and fortnightly is not that significant, but the difference between fortnightly repayments and monthly does make quite a significant impact. And you can actually try this on the calculators on our website and work out what difference it makes for you for your repayments. But have a look at it because it is definitely worth setting it up. And as soon as you settle, if it hasn't already been set up, you can ask to have fortnightly repayments made.
Yeah. So another really good tip, and we touched on this just before, was one, the redraw and putting extra money away to use as redraw. But another option is also an offset account, which is extremely useful if you're looking to not accrue as much interest on your loan. So you end up reducing the amount of interest over the term of the loan. So what an offset account is, it's just like a savings account, but in a savings account, you get interest on the money there. In an offset account, the interest you would have gained, you actually offset the amount that's in your loan.
And it's great. It's much better because you'd pay tax on any money you gain from interest, whereas this way you're actually getting a deduction really because you're not paying the interest in the first place. So offset accounts can often cost extra now. Lenders are now charging somewhere from $10 to $250 for a package fee, or even $400 or $500. depending on the lender. So offset accounts can cost more. Some come free, most don't. Pretty well always they're now going to charge you a fee. And if that's the case and you don't like fees, then you can use redraw, whereas the money is put directly into the loan. So you have your pay put into your loan, and then you use the money out to a savings account to use. And that's great for owner-occupied loans, but it does not work as well for investment loans. And the reason is because when you're withdrawing money from an investment loan, the ATO considers that money paid off the loan, and they won't give you a deduction on the interest already repaid. So you need to speak to your accountant about this, get some proper advice. But generally, we would advise if you're trying to pay off an investment loan, you put the money extra into an offset. So investment, use an offset. For owner-occupied, you can have the choice, either one. But offsets are really particularly good for people in business, because in business, you should be putting away from your income, your tax money and your BAS money every time you're paid, every week or month, and assigning that a separate account. And you can do that often with a separate offset account linked to your loan. Some lenders, and there's quite a few of them, will let you have multiple offset accounts against the one loan. So, for example, you can have one for your general savings, one for your everyday account, one for your BAS, one for whatever. So just to give you a thought. And this could be a more efficient way to manage your money. And people often like having multiple accounts. So anything more to think about on paying down mortgages quicker?
The only other way I could find to pay off a mortgage quicker would actually be the term of the loan that you get. So this is really, really interesting when it comes to how mortgages really work. For example, say a $500,000 loan with a 30-year loan term, you're looking at a rough repayment off the top of my head, let's say 6%. I think off the top of my head, it's around 3,500, more closer to 4. Let's say 4 for an example of what the monthly repayment would be.
A principal and interest repayment.
Principal and interest repayment would be. However, say, for example, you say, oh, I don't want a 30-year loan term. I can actually pay more towards a loan every single month. Maybe I'll go to a 15-year loan term. What that changes the repayment, it doesn't double it, even though you've halved the time. It makes it roughly 1.5 times as much. So instead of 4,000, you're now paying 6,000. But the real kicker here is the interest you'll pay on that loan. Say, off the top of my head, I think a $500,000 loan term, you're probably going to be paying around $900,000 in interest. On the flip side,
in total.
Okay. With the amount of interest you'll accrue. On the interest you'll be paying roughly as you come back, you'll probably be only paying $600,000 in total, maybe $7,500 in total for the entire length of the loan. So it can make it much more cost efficient, but you're just going to be sure that you actually put that money towards your loan every single month.
But you don't have to actually commit to the 15-year term. You can just decide to make that repayment, because from a servicing point of view, when we're trying to get you loans, it's better to actually have you have the option to pay the least in case your circumstances change. So we generally advise taking a longer term, but it all depends on your circumstances, just know. But a longer term often gives people more flexibility, and then you have the option though, but always put in extra. So yes, it is about how do you pay it off? You do have to pay it off, but paying it quicker is a lot smarter. So get rid of the doodads and concentrate on paying down and choose the house. The best, greatest feeling is knowing you don't have any debt to pay. It's a marvelous thing. So any final words?
We talk about not having the doodads and paying off the house, and I agree with all this. The one thing you can always do though is have some avocado on toast, because that will never stop you from having a home.
Oh, is that right?
That is absolutely right. I would know.
You would.
I would know.
Okay. So. Yeah, because he gets me to buy them. Oh, that'd be right. But anyway. Yeah, all right.
But it's always a business expense is what I say.
Anyway.
At the end of the day, there are many options of paying off your home loan. Every unique circumstance is going to come through and ask one of these questions. If you want to know about your unique circumstance and what works best for you, you're more than welcome to reach out and have a chat with us.
Thank you. Have a wonderful week. Take care. Bye.
We'll see you next week.